Hey there and welcome back to Rimworld. My name is Pete and today we complete another episode of our Rimworld Anomaly Sea Ice Challenge with the transhumanist paragons of Pandroth. Last time we left off after the appearance of a twisted obelisk that has so far remained inactive, so we don't really know yet what it's going to do to us. We also had to defend against a horde of flesh beasts emerging from the pit gate, and Roman, son of Lauren and Maniac, was born and immediately shoved back into the growth vat. We are also still unsure about what Ben's deal actually is. His ability to raise shamblers should come with some sort of downside. I suppose we'll find that out soon enough. Finally then, we also gained enough development points to reform our ideology once more, and in the comments you left some very interesting suggestions, also some very strong opinions regarding the Inhuman meme, which I have to agree does not really fit the tone of this series. From what I could tell, the popular choices were High Life and Human Primacy, and we'll make a decision on which one of those it's going to be later this episode. For now, we get things underway with two of our people catching fibrous mechanites, Lauren and our Itakin prisoner. And in case of the latter, that won't be the only suffering he'll have to endure, more on that in just a second. First, Lauren fires up the mech gestator to get a scorcher going. I think with flesh beasts being an ever-looming threat now, as long as the pit gate remains open, some fire-based weaponry will serve us well. Our prisoner meanwhile going berserk, prompting the ghoul police to pacify him yet again. And once all of the injuries have been tended to, we'll also shove him into the subcore soft scanner. After all, we just used up our last subcore on the Scorcher. Now, a competent ghoul strike force is of course only as good as its weakest link, and in the moment that's clearly Kelly, so Lauren here is making her some ghoul plating now. Before we install that, however, we can also take note of the fact that Elpis's psychophage buff is about to run out, and since that was good for a 50% boost to psychic sensitivity, let's perform another psychophagy ritual immediately. Once again, the poor soul having to suffer through it all is the Itakin, fresh out of the scanner, but on the bright side, with a ritual quality of 89%, Elpis will receive the boost for 100 days, plenty of time to find a new victim, as this one is now psychically deaf. Our slave Zamal then also lays down his work for a while by going into a daze. We could end that by imprisoning him, but then we'd also have to enslave him all over again, so perhaps it's best we just let him have this one. The mood bonus from the catharsis afterwards should keep him happy for a while. Down in the pit gate, Mulch Butler's energy reserves are almost exhausted, while our poor Itakin can't catch a break and now suffers an infection. And to top it all off, we've also got a mech cluster incoming. Right, so we're looking at plenty of firepower here, although for now still in a dormant state. Most of the mechs are centipedes, including those about to emerge from the two mech assemblers. Their position is also protected by two low shields, and the entire cluster is based around a weather controller that will soon cloak the sea ice in a thick fog. Now, no need to panic just yet, we have about a week until this thing activates, so until then we're hoping for perhaps an unlucky group of raiders or entities to appear, and if that doesn't happen, then the void can always be provoked to send us something. Which means that for the time being, we'll keep building up our base. After all, Zamal has been busy making marble blocks. Elpis then suppressing and studying the twisted obelisk, which still does not do anything, although on the other hand, now might also not be the time to find out its effects. A high-intensity psychic drone then also strikes the sea ice. Looks like Randy has got it out for us right now. Kelly, meanwhile, receives her ghoul plating and some ghoul barbs afterwards too, now hopefully able to keep up with Midnight and Jay. Zamal's bedroom also receives some flooring, just to keep his mood a little more stable. After all, what good is a slave if he constantly breaks and won't work? For that reason, we'll also install a table and a chair, to get rid of the most infamous of Rimworld's mood penalties. At this point, our chem fuel generators have also officially outlived their usefulness, so in their place we'll install another hydroponics basin. On the next morning then, some fantastic news: Maniac and Lauren are getting married. After Vulek and Ellie already tied the knot last episode, now it's the proud parents' turn, who might be getting a little payback here, performing the ceremony while Vulek is still death resting, after Ellie and Vulek had theirs while Lauren and Maniac were away on mining duty. In the aftermath of their celebration, we then receive a quest that would send another mech cluster our way. I think we'll leave this one be for now, as it appears to be a bit more powerful than the one we currently have, even though the 3 death rest capacity serums here definitely intrigue me. In the late afternoon, we once again experience a slight power outage, something that already briefly troubled us last time, but with plenty of steel and components in storage we can put things right after Maniac experiences a creativity inspiration. Also, unfortunately, after our poor Itakin suddenly dies, looks like the infection caught up with him, a rare occurrence considering the medical talent of Elpis and Nightshade, but I suppose in the grand scheme of things it might be better for him. His future was looking all but rosy. Now, with the psychic drone also coming to an end, let's solve the power issue. First, we'll construct 2 additional batteries to be charged up during the night when the sun lamp isn't running, and then we'll quickly do some trading, although the bulk goods ship here really has nothing we want, and so we just sent them 1 meager jacket. Our power production then increases substantially with 5 new solar panels. Perhaps not the most effective out here on the sea ice, but with 8 of them in total, our production should rise significantly. Vulek, back from his death rest now, also continues working on the incinerator, a device that we definitely want to have finished before tackling that mech cluster. Otherwise, the day remains uneventful, our flooring project makes good progress, and in the evening I also noticed that we still haven't converted Ben yet, but a quick use of Vulek's convert ability changes that. In anticipation of a potential entity that might visit us soon, we are also installing a few more lights around the place, which should also make things a bit easier for you guys to see on video. On the next morning, Lauren then begins to fabricate bionic body parts. Over the course of the next few episodes, I think this will be a major focus as we slowly but steadily improve our pawn's bodily functions. A few hours later, the royal tribute collector once again passes by, potentially an option to have us help fight the mechs, but looking at this group here, I doubt they'll stand much of a chance. After just a short while out on the sea ice, they're leaving again anyway, just as our Scorcher is ready to be set free, and as always, randomly picked from the list of Patreon supporters in the naming rights tier and above, we'll name this one Tony. The incinerator then completes in the middle of the night. What this is a flamethrower with a pretty wide arc and a 3-second cooldown, also with a special, more powerful flame burst attack that can only be used once before it needs to be recharged with bioferrite. And now that we have it, let's have Elpis provoke the void again, to hopefully get something that helps us against the mechs. At this point, with a good chunk of the entity codex already filled, and with void provocations always attempting to give you an entity that you have not yet seen, chances are somewhat high that we get something useful here, so let's wait and see what exactly that might be. Now, no matter what it is, it will need active mechanoids to fight, which is why we are now sending Vulek out with a sniper rifle to activate the mech cluster. And there we go, the entities we have just provoked are Devourers. The description here already says it all. These entities are big enough to swallow a human whole, and they are more than happy to do so. And it is this swallowing attack which makes them so very dangerous, as it can instantly remove any pawn from the battlefield, who will then get digested very quickly, and if the Devourer is not killed, downed, or otherwise made to spit its prey back up, then that swallow attack is essentially a death sentence. Now, the Devourers are coming from a rather convenient angle here, although this does not give Volek much time to go to work. As you can see, the mech cluster is protected by 2 mech low shields. However, one tiny corner of the capsule over here is left unprotected, and that's what Volek will be aiming for. In order for that to work, we need to get the angle just right. Let's hope he can land the shot before he is swallowed. Alright, perfect. The mechs have woken up. Time for our sanguiphage to get out of here. At this point, we can just sit back and watch the carnage unfold, although we do not want to sit idly by. This fight will most likely have one clear winner, and we want to be prepared once they come for us. For now though, it is a beautiful slaughter. The smaller mechs are instantly swallowed and removed from the fight. The turrets actually do more harm than good by blowing up all of those power cells, and so after only a few seconds, only the centipedes remain, and those might be very sturdy, but melee combat is probably not their strong suit. So, with the Devourers likely emerging victorious very soon, let's do our best to pick off anything that's not protected by that shield. Unfortunately, one did survive the onslaught, otherwise we would be able to nicely pepper these guys from behind. And so we are left with no other choice but to get ready. We've got several pawns equipped with fire-based weaponry here, as fire is in fact one of the few things that will force a live Devourer to instantly spit out its prey. The last centipede then goes down and the beasts are now coming for us. Almost all of them are still alive, although some are badly injured. As you can see, even being on fire does not really seem to deter them, and they can also take a good chunk of damage, so after taking a few potshots here, we retreat. And now begins the fun part. We have lined up our expandables, if you will, near the front. That's who the Devourers will target with their swallow attack, allowing the folks in the back to hopefully kill those Devourers quick enough to make them spit their targets back out. The big danger here is getting overrun, essentially having Devourers swallow our people faster than we can free them, which can very quickly lead to even a sizable number of colonists getting absolutely eradicated. Now, we are definitely benefiting from the fact that these entities are not hitting our position all at once, and that they need to round a corner to get there, because Devourers love to set up their swallow attack with a long jump, so even if you seem to have enough distance, they can close that gap very quickly. It probably also helps our efforts here that some of our lifter mechs are providing an admittedly unintended distraction, not exactly ideal, but it buys us a few valuable seconds. I also realize that a fire-based approach may not be entirely risk-free, not because of friendly fire, Maniac is aiming the incinerator quite carefully here, but because several of our pawns are afraid of fire, and, well, we are blazing up quite the small inferno here. The fight also unfortunately causes Lifterbot Frelock to be fully digested, leading to its death, although that's nothing that we can't reverse. Ultimately though, it appears as if we have won the fight, the good old approach of melee blockers with as much firepower as possible behind it once again working nicely here, as only our ghouls and mechs suffer any noteworthy injuries. We are also hurrying over to one of these still alive but burning Devourers, as we of course want to capture one. They require a pretty solid containment strength of 90, but also provide advanced anomaly study knowledge and 4 units of bioferrite per day, one of the highest values of all entities. And well, since we have a few more Devourers out there who are barely clinging on to life, let's make some room by executing the tough spike here. That one was mostly captured to have a full collection, but it really does not give us much of use. So we bump up our bioferrite production quite significantly here and leave our lifter mechs to clean up the mess and to haul everything of value back home. Speaking of value, butchering Devourers also provides a very healthy amount of twisted meat and dread leather, so our colony wealth should improve a good chunk over the next few hours too. With the sun slowly rising again, Maniac then destroys the weather controller to officially defeat the mech cluster, so that we can now also claim and disassemble the mech low shield. Just as one weather effect is shut down, two new ones emerge, a flash storm and a quest that could bring about a climate adjuster. We barely have more than a day to accept it, and doing so would spawn the climate adjuster on a nearby tile, alongside an unknown threat. To be honest, I'm not quite sure what to think of this one. The rewards do not convince me all that much, but let me know what you think. We'll still have a chance to make a decision next episode. For today, we continue our last day by giving Maniac a bionic leg. Not only has he lost his little toe, which definitely warrants this procedure, but he's also wielding a Persona monosword and thus might be prone to getting hit, and well, the fewer actual body parts he's got to lose, the better. As the operation concludes, we are also informed that Tunneler Mulch Butler has struck steel. As you can see, our quest to completely mine out the pit gate continues, and this is a welcome surprise. For the next few hours then, Devourers are butchered, mechs are disassembled, and our colony wealth rises to about 175,000 silver, half of what we need to finally get to the Archonexus ending, which seems very fitting for this series. Now, we've lost a prisoner today, so I'd say it's time we grab a new one. Let's perform another skip abduction. I'm hoping for someone who can either mine or craft, and well, Randy does not disappoint with this one, a level 19 crafter who's also a pigskin, so we might be able to extract some genes from her. Definitely a fantastic result here. This lady should be able to help our production of advanced components so that Lauren and Vulek can focus more on making bionics. For now though, she'll need to sleep off her psychic coma, although she can certainly also do that in the gene extractor. And just like that, we are then informed that Roman has aged up. Yes, thanks to the growth vat, he's already 3 years old. At this point, we'll also want to eject him from the device. Only that way can he sleep off his gene implantation coma and acquire enough learning to reach the highest possible growth tier. Inside the vat, he would only gain experience towards random skills, and his traits would also be randomized, definitely not what we want. And so let us then conclude the episode with that all-important ideology reform. After reading your comments on the last episode, I think that human primacy and high life are the two most suitable memes for this colony, and because our pawns have not really had that much contact with drugs yet, we're going with human primacy for now. This prevents a few nature-based restrictions that we are already ignoring anyway. It also disables bonding between pawns and animals, nothing we really need, and it unlocks the production specialist, arguably the most powerful role in the game. Why? Well, because it raises the quality level of this person's crafts and constructs by 1, so an excellent piece would become masterwork and masterwork legendary. For a high-level crafter like Lauren or the pigskin we just abducted, this can be very powerful, so powerful in fact that it's one of the reasons why I did not want to go with this meme in one of my earlier playthroughs. Now, as part of this ideology reform, we'll also add the slavery honorable precept, since that is going to be a staple of this colony going forward, I think. What we will not add is the essential growth vats precept, as I would actually like to keep our children out of them for those learning bonuses, and with this precept that would only cause mood penalties for the parents. Enhanced mechanoid labor is another one that I have been thinking about, but we'll leave that off the list for now too. But if you like it, we can certainly add it as part of the next and potentially last reform. For today, I would say this is now the new and improved version of the Paragons of Pandroth, transhumanist raiders who put the advancement of the human race above all else. And with that, I think we have reached a good point to make the cut. So as always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then you can of course go ahead and subscribe to stay up to date, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.